Hello and a big welcome in here on the Eagles Sports Network. I'm Cody Wagner here alongside Christian McGon, ready for some JV action between your Eagles of St. Edward and the Explorers of Hudson. It's been a one-way rivalry so far this year. The Explorers taking that first meeting against the Eagles earlier this season. It was 3 sets in the varsity match. Very competitive across those 3 sets. I spoke with Jacob Estevez about that match. Was very happy with the way they performed against that very strong Hudson team. And tonight, they'll look to try to come away with the upset here against the Explorers.
Yeah, and when you look at it, at the score, they lost the first set by 4 and the second and third by 3 points. So they definitely can show that they can hang with the Explorers. And I think it'll be a close match tonight.
And last year between these two teams, it was the meeting in the regular season. The Eagles were able to come away with victory. Then ultimately they got knocked out in the district semifinal against the Explorers in a very close 5-set match. And since then, the Eagles have lost some key components of that team from last season. But here we go, getting ready for this JV action here tonight. Back to serve for the Eagles is number 9, Ethan Burke. Explorers outside now. Block there from Vlasic on the outside for the Eagles. Now it'll be played back row Androsic. Now for the Eagles, that's Ian Williams who will come up with the point there for the Eagles. Make it 1-0 here early, Eagles. And Chris, how big can these early points be against the Explorers?
Oh, I mean, when we play a good team like Hudson, those early leads really most times determine the set. If you look back at our regional final against them last year, every set we were down at least 2-0 or 3-0. So you really need to have a good start against good teams like Hudson, Ignatius, Jackson. Good start's really important.
And 2 of those 3 teams you mentioned, the Eagles have actually been able to defeat earlier this season. Jackson, they came away with victory, as well as against Ignatius earlier this season. That was a 5-setter in Sullivan Gym. They also lost a match earlier this season against the Wildcats here at St. Ed. So it's 1-1 against the Wildcats on the season. Has been a very close rivalry with that Wildcats team as we continue on here with this JV action. Back row hit from Patrick Androsic. Trying to dive after that one is number 9, Ethan Burke. Not quite able to pick it up. Score will now be 2-1.
Hey, you see Coach Toma and Corrigan telling Ethan to play up a little bit. He was a little too deep, which allowed that tip to fall for a Hudson point.
And now that a free ball over there from Daniel Beck in the back row goes the Eagles' way. They'll now tie it up at 2-2. And checking in is number 5, Davion Tanwin. He's been a bright spot so far for the Eagles throughout this season on the JV level. Has served really well for this squad. We'll see what he can do here tonight. Serve from Tanwin. That's floated over. And now hitting from that back row for the Explorers. Now it'll be set. Middle hit from Ian Williams. The kill from Williams will put the Eagles up 3-2 here early.
Good swing, good swing. Found the right spot in between the seam. Looks like the libero and the DS, so good spot to put the ball down and get a kill.
It's really a rarity that you'll see Tanwin miss a serve as he floats one over once again there. And now a great free ball there from number 27 in the back row. That's Rice Walker for the Explorers. He'll tie it up at 3-3.
I mean, that corner, that was directly on the spot.
Number 19 now, Owen Stearns back to serve here for Hudson. Stearns, he'll send it over. That played by Daniel Beck for the Eagles. Set from Tanwin. Outside for the Eagles is number 3, not on the roster, but he'll make the score 4-3 now for the Eagles. Daniel Beck now back to serve the libero for the Eagles.
And, you know, having a junior on JV, I really like that because usually we have a JV, you have a young team, and have a couple of juniors like Temple and Beck can really help keep the team in place with discipline and other factors.
And Beck has really become one of the leaders on this JV squad, especially playing that libero position, and that's a back row hit from Ethan Burke that will go just deep. And checking out now is Ian Williams. Coming in for him will once again be the libero, Daniel Beck. You see that throughout this Eagles lineup. Oftentimes when they go back to serve, they'll sometimes send the libero out. You'll also likely see that later tonight at the varsity level. That'll be a free ball over by number 26, Joshua Thomas, for the Eagles. Eagles blocking arms go up, and point will be awarded to the Eagles. A lift called on the Hudson side.
That ball is not going to go nowhere. It looked like we had Thomas, and I think Steve Rigler was both reading that hit. And, that was not going to go nowhere. So
Rigler now coming out. Coming in will be Alex Temple to play the back row for the Eagles. Outside hit, that's number 7, Tommy Schaefer, and that one will go out. Eagles point 6-4. Eagles are playing really well here in the early going. What do you like so far, Christian?
Honestly, the way how they're playing their tempo, they're playing the game how they want to play, and they're not letting Hudson take control and play their way. So I think, this great start. Hopefully they can come out with a victory in this set.
7-4 here early in the first set between the Eagles and the Explorers. Back to serve once again, Alex Temple. He'll float one over, play back row by Walker. Now it'll be Alex Temple to play it for the Eagles. Coming from Davion Tamwin, now outside Ethan Burke. A good hit played by Walker in the back row for the Explorers. Now played over by number 15, that's Chase Waller. Now Ethan Burke unable to get it, just got the fingertips on it, wasn't able to come up with the hit he ultimately wanted to, so score will now go to 7-5. Eagles still in the lead.
Yeah, some miscommunication with Thomas there on who's going to take that ball. That's why that set wasn't the best.
Now that's played back row by Alex Temple here for the Eagles, and it was number 3 for the Eagles who almost tried to play it with a hit into the middle and was trying to get it over to Joshua Thomas and was unable to get it there, so score will now go to 7-6. Now it's number 16, that's Alex Temple. Outside Eagles, and now a great save made there by Zappone for the Explorers. Now free ball over from Davion Tanwin. Now it'll be outside number 7, Schaefer, and that one drops in for the Explorers. Alex Temple unable to get there. Score is now tied at 7. Momentum building on the side of the Explorers. We've actually got dual action tonight between the Eagles and the Explorers. Also out on the lacrosse field tonight, the Eagles will battle the Explorers, and that hit from Ethan Burke will now award the Eagles the point. 8-7 Eagles here at the JV level. Now it's Patrick Androsik back to serve here for your St. Edward Eagles. After the serve, he'll join Daniel Beck and Alex Temple in the back row. Androsik sends it over here for the Eagles. Now it'll be outside Schaefer for the Explorers. Now Vlasic to set, outside Ethan Burke. And that one will drop down. Number 3, Fisher Zappone was racing to that ball for the Explorers, unable to get there. Eagles will now go ahead by 2. 9-7 is the score here from the Eagles Nest. Cody Wagner here alongside Christian Bagan on the Eagles Sports Network. That's Zappone to set. And going up were the blocking arms of Vlasic and Thomas. And now it'll be a free ball over from Zappone. And now played front row Ethan Burke. Ethan Burke outside. And net touch there by the Explorers. I believe it was number 23, John Jordan. And Eagles will now go up 3. Score is 10-7. Back to serve once again is number 17, Patrick Androsik.
Yeah, volleyball is a game of runs. Like you just saw, it was 7-7. Now the Eagles are up to a 3-point lead. So momentum in this game can really shift at any time.
And now it's outside from the Explorers. Score will now go 11-7. And as you mentioned, in those runs, you really just can't let yourself get too high or too low. I mean, for the Eagles, you've even seen early on they went on a run early. Explorers tied it back up. Eagles showing that they're ready to battle here early, now up 11-7. Vlasic to set, now middle hit, Joshua Thomas. That'll be the point awarded now to the Eagles. Score is 12-7. They've gone on a little run, forces a timeout here from the Explorers. Christian, how do you like what you've seen so far here tonight from the Eagles?
Well, the Eagles came out with a lot of energy, and Hudson still has to find the rhythm, which I think they will do later on this set. But honestly, a really great start for the Eagles against a pretty good JV team, the Explorers.
And you know this Hudson team just all throughout their lineup, JV, varsity, just so solid. Really don't miss any part of their team. They're just so solid all around, and that's one of the things I noticed from watching back that regional semifinal game from last season. Really just so solid. Their whole team, really not a weak part of that team, hits well, sets well, back row is really good, and so that's something you're going to want to watch out for later tonight at the varsity level. They do everything just so well.
Yeah, and if you look at their team a couple years ago, like the 2021 season, and look at their record, them compared now, I mean, they've had a really great turnaround in the program, and the program is heading in the right direction.
That serve from Androsic will go into the net here, and score will now be 12-8. Heading back to serve now will be number 7. That is Tommy Schaefer. Libero out of the game for the Explorers. Now Ethan Burke tipping it over there for the Eagles. Score is now 13-8.
And on those close sets, those tips can be really, really effective if you know how much force to put on it and where you're going to put it. It can be real effective.
Getting that over the blocking arms right there was Ethan Burke. Scores 13-8. Serve sent over by Daniel Beck. Outside for the Explorers. That will go just long there from Owen Stearns. Outside hitting for the Explorers. Score is now 14-8. Eagles in the lead. Back to serve for your St. Edward Eagles. That's number 10, Daniel Beck. Beck sends the serve over. Now it'll be the set from Zappone. And now played back row Daniel Beck. Now it'll be a free ball over from Beck. Played a little short. And now Vlasic will come up with the block there for your St. Edward Eagles. Score now goes to 15-8 Eagles.
Great awareness by Vlasic on the right side. Knew that ball was an overpass and put it right down.
15-8 Eagles. Now it's Daniel Beck back to serve. Beck sends it over here for the Eagles. Zappone to set. Now middle from the Explorers. That played by Vlasic. Now back row Temple. Temple will play it. Now Zappone to set. Outside, number 19, Owen Stearns. And a miscommunication between Stearns and number 7. That's Tommy Schaefer. Schaefer seemingly playing the back row. Stearns going into more of that outside hitting position. I think Schaefer thought Stearns was going to get ready to hit that one and wasn't there in enough time, and so score will go to 16-8.
Again.
And once again, the miscommunication. It was number 10, Cooper Lewis, who initially played it, and number 19, Owen Stearns, right next to him, didn't make his way over. Seemingly a miscommunication on the Explorer side. Score now 17-8 Eagles. And now outside for the Explorers, and that played by Daniel Beck, diving across the floor. And now it'll be outside Stearns. Once again, just deep from Stearns. Stearns has done that a couple times, outside hidden over on that far side, and has just sent it deep. Score is 18-8. Eagles starting to run away with this first set.
Yeah, that last set by the Explorers was kind of low, which ultimately allowed the hitter to nail it, go out of bounds. So I saw the coach tell them to relax a little bit. So if you get the sets a little higher, maybe get their team to operate more.
A big kill right there from Ethan Burke for your St. Edward Eagles. Just found the right spot there between the front and back row. Score now goes to 19-8 Eagles. Back to serve for the Eagles is number 10. That's Daniel Beck. Zappone to set. Now it'll be number 23 in the middle. That's John Jordan. Now for the Eagles, Ian Williams plays it. John Jordan free ball over. Now it's Vlasic. Outside Ethan Burke. Ethan Burke has been hitting so well here tonight for the Eagles. Score is now 28 Eagles.
That's another timeout by Explorers. Burke really found his rhythm in this first set early. Maybe about 4 or 5 kills while the Eagles are up by 12.
Eagles up by 12. Huge advantage here in this first set of action. Score is 20-8. It's really going to take a lot from this Explorer squad if they want to try to get back into this set. But the Eagles are rolling here tonight on Jim Connor's court from the Eagles' nest. And you really got to think they want to try and ride this momentum into the second set and ultimately try to ride it into that varsity match later here tonight, as you will see here later on the Eagles Sports Network. That varsity match, a rematch of the match earlier this season where the Eagles ultimately lost that one in 3 sets. And last season, the Eagles also lost to the Explorers in the playoff matchup. They'll try to get that one back here tonight. Zappone plays it over. Now it's Vlasic. Outside Williams for the Eagles, and a big block there from Owen Stearns for the Explorers. Checking into the game now is the libero for the Explorers. That's number 6, Mateo Henderson. Henderson back to serve. Score is 20-9, Eagles. Henderson sends it over. Played by Androsic. Vlasic outside Burke. Big hit from Ethan Burke. Man, he is on tonight.
5th kill of the night, that one. Nice shot.
Ethan Burke looking so smooth out here tonight for the Eagles, as he'll now go back to serve here for the Eagles. Steven Rigler now coming into the game. And that one short there from Burke. Score is now 21-10. Eagles still in the lead. And going back to serve now, checking into the game, is Rice Walker for the Explorers. Back row for the Eagles is Burke, Beck, and number 17, Patrick Androsic. Set from Vlasic, outside Rigler. A nice hit there from Steve Rigler. Ultimately kept alive by the Explorers, and it will be Eagles point. 4 hits on the side of the Explorers. The outside hit from Owen Stearns ultimately did not get over that net, so Eagles will be awarded the point, and they'll go up 22-10. Eagles looking good here in this first set of action against the Hudson Explorers. That serve from Davion Tanwin, the ace from Tanwin off the net, will make the score now 23-10.
I think the Eagles are on a 16-3 run to close out this first set. Just phenomenal play.
Been really impressive for the Eagles. As you mentioned there, at one point score was tied 7-7. Does it again. Davion Tanwin off the net, goes right over, and score will now be 24-10. Eagles look to end the set right here. Davion Tanwin back to serve once again for the Eagles. Played back row by Walker. Now it's Tanwin to set. Outside Rigler for the Eagles. Now it'll be a free ball over from Henderson. Now set from Tanwin. Wasn't ideal for Williams. He had to readjust. Tanwin saying my bad on that one. And the Eagles will try to win this set off the serve of the Explorers.
Yeah, I think the pass was a little too close for net and Tanwin's comfort, which allowed him to give, I think, Ian Williams a low set.
And now it'll be set from Tanwin. And now outside Ian Williams. And you saw much more comfort there from Tanwin. Not as close to the net. Was able to make a better set, but still a little far from the net for Ian Williams, and sends that one just a little out here to the near side. Scores now 24-12. Eagles in the lead. And that one will go wide. Eagles take the first set here over the Explorers. And you mentioned at one point, Christian, the Eagles, that first set was tied at 7-7, and the Eagles went on a huge run to finish out that set. And it was just great play in that second half of the set from the Eagles.
Yeah, and, it's a JV game. Mistakes are going to happen, but Hudson made a couple mistakes with communication errors, and the Eagles really took advantage of that. I don't know who was serving, but they kept serving right at their target that was having those communication errors. So they found the weakness in Hudson, and they kept attacking it.
And one of those bright spots here in that first set for the Eagles was number 9, Ethan Burke. As you mentioned, 5 kills so far for Burke. Has been so impressive throughout that first set. We'll see if he can keep it up as we get ready to go here in the second set between the Eagles and the Explorers.
I think this momentum hopefully should carry into the second set. I think Hudson, though, they're going to come out with a little more, what's the word? Help me out.
A little more confidence and trying to get back in this one, certainly for Hudson. Trying to right the ship here in this second set, down, losing that first set rather, 25-12. They'll try to get this one back. Seemingly a different setup for the Eagles coming into this second set. Not quite sure who's going to sub out in that back row. Perhaps Alonzo Ezel for the Eagles. Front row will be Vlasic, Braylon Adams, and number 44, that's Owen Murtaugh for the Eagles. Back row at the moment will be Alex Temple, Andrew Smith, and Alonzo Ezel. One of those players will come out for Daniel Beck in a moment. And in comes the libero here for the Explorers. That's number 6, Mateo Henderson. And in a moment, Daniel Beck will check in for your St. Edward Eagles.
Yeah, and Coach Neal, one of his tactics that he likes to use is that when he has a large roster, such as the JV one, he always likes to substitute often in every set so everyone can get a fair amount of playing time and experience on the court.
And even speaking about that playing time, even more than that, the Eagles, they just always seem fresh, and they get in a great amount of players in these games. Almost everyone plays on this JV lineup, and even at the varsity level where winning is much more important, obviously, you see a lot of players rotate into that lineup, and Coach Corrigan really tries to get in as many players as he can, try to keep them as fresh as he can in that varsity matches. You'll see later here tonight from the Eagles Nest. Back to serve now is number 6, Mateo Henderson. Now set from Vlasic. Outside, Braylon Adams sends that one way long there for the Eagles. He's the outside hitter. It's his first year playing volleyball. Obviously, some growing pains out on the court for Adams, but has ultimately played pretty well in his first season of volleyball for the Eagles. Vlasic now. It's outside Adams. He'll play a free ball over here for the Eagles. Now it'll be a free ball from number 23, John Jordan.
Great effort.
And now Daniel Beck. And Eagles point there on the double hit from the Explorers.
Yeah, they had some great effort to keep that ball alive around the center of the court.
Eagles have just been playing so well here tonight from the Eagles Nest. That first set they won 25-12, the 18-5 run to close out the set. And once again, the double hit there from the Explorers. 2 in a row now. Eagles go up 2-1. The Eagles rolling here. Tan Nguyen once again back to serve for the Eagles.
How about that previous serve, though? That one had some queso on it.
Tan Nguyen, he'll send it over for the Eagles. That one more of the traditional float serve. Now it's free ball over. Set from Tan Nguyen. Outside Adams. Braylon Adams, a much better hit there for Adams. Gets the Eagles the point. 3-1 Eagles. Tan Nguyen now back to serve. Front row for the Eagles is Temple, Murtaugh, and number 12, Braylon Adams. Back to serve, number 5, Davion Tan Nguyen. That one goes just short. Score is now 3-2. Eagles still in the lead by 1. Coming in and headed back to serve is Rice Walker for the Explorers. Walker will send it over, played by Ezel, back row. Now outside, Alex Temple, and hitting the stick from Temple. Score will now be 3-3. Tied here at 3 in this second set. You expect the Explorers to be reinvigorated, ready to go for this second set here against the Eagles. Set from Tan Nguyen, now played over by Murtaugh, and now played by Braylon Adams. It seemed like Beck wanted to take that ball. It's now free ball over from Tan Nguyen. Outside for the Explorers. That one will go just wide there from Owen Stearns. 4-3 Eagles. Coming into this one for your Eagles. First time he's seen the court tonight. That's number 24, Terrence May. Now the libero for the Eagles, the junior Daniel Beck, heads back to serve. Beck now for the Eagles. He'll send it over. Now Beck plays it over to Tan Nguyen. Now set from Tan Nguyen goes over to May. Now Braylon Adams plays it immediately back over to the Explorer side. Now outside Stearns. That one goes just long. And Owen Stearns has had trouble finding his groove here tonight in the Eagles' nest. Score is now 5-3 Eagles.
Yeah, I like that play by Brilliant Adams of throwing it right back over on the overpass. That play can really catch the defense off guard. It can be really effective.
Score is 5-3 Eagles. Here is Daniel Beck back to serve, and unable to get it up was number 6, Mateo Henderson for the Explorers. Score will now go to 6-3 Eagles. Wearing number 10 out there is the libero junior Daniel Beck. He's back to serve now for the Eagles. He'll send it over. Seems like he's targeting Henderson in the back row, and will go out and was touched by, I believe, Terrence May for the Eagles. Score is now 6-4.
Yeah, looks like you just got a finger on it. It's allowed to go out of bounds. Let's get the point right back here.
And it seemed like Tan Nguyen maybe could have gotten there, not quite sure, but seemed to almost give up on it because I believe he didn't think Terrence May had gotten a piece of it, but ultimately point goes to the Explorers. Now outside from the Explorers, that's a free ball over. Now it's Tan Nguyen to set. Now Andrew Smith middle for the Eagles. Eagles will now go up 7-4 here in the second set. And the Eagles have looked so good here tonight at the JV level. They'll try to put some of this momentum into the varsity match later here tonight. Serve sent over by Braylon Adams. Now that's over on the outside hit from number 7, Tommy Schaefer. Now free ball over from Alonzo Ezel. Now it'll be a free ball over by the Explorers. Now Ezel. Free ball from Tan Nguyen.
Got a battle of free balls.
And now middle hit for the Explorers. That's number 10, Cooper Lewis. Now it's outside hit from Terrence May. And now back row hidden is number 6, Mateo Henderson. Now played over by Daniel Beck.
Got a nice rally going right here.
It's been a long point here. Whoever wins this, expecting a lot of momentum to come out of this one. Eagles will ultimately come up with the point. Eagles will now go up 8-4 as Hudson tries to come out with a new life here in the second set. Score is 8-5 Eagles. And those new sets so important in volleyball. You reset back 0-0, and the Hudson Explorers trying to make the most of that here at the JV level. Eagles won that first set 25-12 as they try to dominate this second set as well.
Yeah, Hudson still trying to find the rhythm. They really haven't had many things go their way or click for them. So it's really important that in this set they find the rhythm and hopefully, for them, in their case, take it to a third set.
Back to serve now for the Explorers. That's number 10, Cooper Lewis. Eagles trying to seemingly work out what's going on with the rotation.
Even on the varsity stage, you'll see how these rotation checks are actually quite common. It can be really easy to forget your spot.
And now the referee over along the far side clarifying what's going on for the Eagles, and Brian Vlasic will. And now it'll be Andrew Smith who heads back into that back row for the Eagles. Patrick Androsik over on that far side. Daniel Beck over on this near side. And it was a short serve there from Lewis that did not clear the net. Eagles now go up 9-5. Eagles already up a set here, won that first set 25-12. Second set seemingly going to be a little closer contested as Alex Temple heads back to serve for the Eagles. And that played back row by Walker. Now hit from number 7. That's Tommy Schaefer. And Androsik's dig went too far towards the net. Unable to get it was number 14, Brian Vlasic.
Yeah, it looks like that ball might have been heading out, but when you're playing in the actual in-game speed, those, close calls are, really tough decisions. So.
And wayward hit there from Androsik goes into the net. Score is now 9-7. Eagles remain in the lead. Back to serve now is number 3, Fisher Zappone, the setter for the Explorers. Zappone sends it over. Played back row by Temple. Set from Vlasic. Outside Ethan Burke. Big hit there from Burke, who's looked great here tonight. Free ball over from Zappone. Once again, we'll go outside Burke. And that tipped by the fingers of the Explorers. And a big block there for number 55, the big man in the middle, Andrew Smith.
Good block, good block. He's right there, read the hitter. Ultimately, he put it down.
Checking in now is number 44, that's Owen Murtaugh. Back to serve now for the Eagles is number 55, Andrew Smith. Smith coming off that block on the point before, and a block there from Owen Murtaugh will ultimately get the point for the Eagles. Eagles up 11-7 here in the second set against the Explorers. Back to serve is number 55, Andrew Smith. Zappone, now back row Henderson. Now for the Eagles, set from Vlasic. Back row for the Eagles, number 55, Andrew Smith sends it over. Now outside for the Explorers. That play by Andrew Smith. Now once again, he'll hit from the back row. Zappone outside for the Explorers. That's John Jordan, who is unable to get it over the net. 4 hits for the Explorers. That will award the Eagles the point, 12-7, Eagles.
Yeah, good hits from Smith from the back row, really targeting the libero, making it tough for the Explorers defense to, function and operate.
And now that played by Alex Temple, and slick move there from Brian Vlasic. That'll put the Eagles up 13-7.
That was nice. I was not even expecting that one.
Cody Wagner here alongside Christian Pagan here on the Eagles Sports Network. Back to serve is Andrew Smith for the Eagles. Now outside for the Explorers, that's number 7, Tommy Schaefer, who comes up with a point there for the Explorers. Now back to serve is Schaefer. Score is 13-8, Eagles in the lead. That going to be played by Daniel Beck, set from Vlasic. Outside Ethan Burke. Burke rolls that one into the net. Score is now 13-9. Hudson trying to mount a little comeback here in this second set against the Eagles. And now at the float serve there from Schaefer. Free ball over from Vlasic. And unable to come up with it in the back row is number 10, Cooper Lewis, for the Explorers.
Yeah, the Eagles were getting a little sloppy in those recent plays and just got a break from that recent mistake.
And last point, it really wasn't played that cleanly by the Eagles, and Drosic questioned if it was going to go out, so the Eagles were ultimately forced to play a free ball over and ultimately capitalized on the mistake from the Explorers, and that a nice serve there from Alonzo Ezel clips off the net and goes over. Explorers unable to get there. Score will go to 15-9. Eagles in the lead.
Yeah, when the ball goes off the tape, it really slows down the ball. And if you're not expecting it, that ball will just drop right in front of you. It will just stop all movement and just drop straight down.
Point now awarded here to the Eagles. Eagles will go up 16-9. Starting to run away with the second set now are your St. Edward Eagles. Back to serve once again, Alonzo Ezel for the Eagles. He'll join Beck and Temple in the back row. Set now to come from Zappone. Now it'll be back row Ezel. Now outside Owen Murtaugh for the Eagles. The kill from Murtaugh will put the Eagles up 8 here in the second set. Eagles up 17-9.
Timeout. Yeah, that last kill was borderline illegal and contested a throw. I saw the Hudson bench. They wanted a violation on that. They didn't get it, but that was borderline close.
Timeout taken here by Hudson. Reminder, you are watching it here on the Eagles Sports Network. Cody Wagner here alongside Christian Bagan. We'll be here with you all night for the remainder of this JV action and later for the Varsity Eagles when they take on the Explorers of Hudson. Getting a chance to look at Rennell Gall warming up along the far side with Mark Hauptman getting ready to go in a moment for that varsity matchup. this Eagles JV squad hoping to end it here in this second set against the Explorers. Back to serve here is Alonzo Ezel for your St. Edward Eagles. Front row for the Eagles is Vlasic, Murtaugh, and Adams. Now that played back row by Schaefer. Now it'll be a ball over from Jordan. Now that's the set to Murtaugh. Murtaugh plays it over for the Eagles. Set from Jordan. Outside Stearns, and Stearns will come up with the point. Unable to come up with it for the Eagles was number 14, Brian Vlasic. Eagles remain in the lead by 7.
Yeah, you got a 7-point lead. I think hopefully they can get a point right here, gain some momentum, and go on a run to end the set. But I've seen some crazy comebacks, so this set for Hudson is definitely not over.
And now outside Braylon Adams.
Underneath.
And point now given to the Eagles. Player was past half court for the Explorers. Point will now go to the Eagles. 18-10, Eagles in the lead. And Davion Tanwin now will come into the game for the Eagles. Back to serve, checking in for Brian Vlasic. You'll see Vlasic setting that front row for the Eagles. Once they get into that back row, it will be Tanwin setting from the back row for the Eagles. 18-10, Eagles in the lead. That serve now going into the net from Tanwin. Last two serves from Tanwin have been just short. He'll try to make some adjustments here as the Eagles still remain up by 7. 18-11, Eagles in the lead. Back to serve now, Bryce Walker for the Explorers. He'll send it over, and Daniel Beck, I think, wanted to let that one go. Couldn't quite get out of the way for the Eagles. Score will now be 18-12.
See Coach Neal on the bench.
Some of his teammates mocking him over on the bench. You see Steve Rigler giving him some over there on the bench. And now it'll be outside number 16, Alex Temple for the Eagles. And now it'll be a ball over there from the Explorers. Murtaugh just continues to play it immediately over for the Eagles and seemingly caught that Explorers squad off guard as there was a miscommunication there right in the middle for the Explorers. It seemed like Fisher's opponent's ball, but didn't immediately go for it. Couldn't quite hear. Maybe he was called off, but ultimately not going for it and forced to play it later than he wanted to, and so that miscommunication leads to a point there for the Eagles. Now back to serve here is number 10. That's Daniel Beck. And now it'll be a free ball over. Now played by Tanwin. Set from Daniel Beck. Back row, hit from Tanwin. And that played off the arms of the libero of the Explorers. That's number 6, Mateo Henderson.
Yeah, good play by Beck. You know, when Hudson sent it over, they took out the setter. And, you know, Beck took control, gave it right back to Tanwin, ultimately got a kill out of it.
Now it will be Beck to serve. Tried to go jump serve with this lead.
See Coach Neal, some of the bench smiling.
Once you start to build this lead, you let the players go for it a little more. Beck going with the jump serve there for the Eagles. Coach Neil Corrigan having a little fun with him. And that serve now will go out there from number 19. That's Owen Stearns. They'll put Stearns way back there in the back row for the Explorers, and back to try to receive this serve will be Bryce Walker over on this near side.
So you're going to have Alonzo play outside because they couldn't get Burke to sub in time. Nice kill.
And a big kill there for the Explorers. That's outside number 7, Tommy Schaefer. Checking in now is Ethan Burke. Just as you expected, Ethan Burke checks into this one. Going back there is Andrew Smith for the Eagles. He'll join Androsic and Beck in the back row. Played free ball over by Androsic. Now it's outside.
Good block.
And a big block there for number 24, Terrence May. 22-14, Eagles in the lead. They'll look to try and close this first set out. Here heading back to serve is number 24, Terrence May. Now checking in to set in this front row will be Brian Vlasic. And now that serve will go just short from Terrence May. And I do have to say, for the Eagles, in recent memory, it's kind of been the setters that have been a strong part of this team for the Eagles. You've seen guys like last season for the Eagles, it was Sam Clemente setting. Johnny Hudson, who's really not your prototypical setter, who set really well for the Eagles. And that set going just high there from Brian Vlasic, trying to get Ethan Burke outside. But even at this JV level, obviously with the mishap, ill-fated timing here, complimenting Vlasic on the setting, but Brian Vlasic and number 5 Davion Tanwin have both set really well. And also at the varsity level, you've seen really good setting this season from Mason Monette and in the back row from Michael Gall.
Yeah, and these teams, these players are very, very versatile. As back plays in the back corner, like Hutton is just a pure athlete, mostly a hitter, but last year, like you said, he set. And even this year on the varsity level, you saw Zach Libertowski, the freshman, he was setting early on in the year, then made some adjustments. Matt Bloom, the outside, he has experience setting on JV last year. So they have a lot of experience and a lot of versatile players.
And that versatility for this Eagles squad is huge. You can really play those guys almost wherever you want. And you mentioned Hutton coming into St. Ed's was not a volleyball player. So athletic, really plays all around for the Eagles. Front row, back row, really doesn't matter for Hutton, as outside hidden is Ethan Burke and a big block there for the Explorers. And that's really something they've built up in this Eagles program, is that versatility, guys that can play both the front row and the back row. You saw that last year with a guy like Sam Clemente, obviously not playing out here this season for the Eagles. Back to serve now is number 7, Tommy Schaefer. And he gets the point there off the ace for Hudson. Hudson now will cut this lead of the Eagles down to 4.
Yeah, they're sailing back.
Score is 23-19. Eagles remain in the lead. And now it'll be a free ball over from Androsik. What a play there by Patrick Androsik. Now it'll be a free ball over. That played by Alex Temple in the back row. Now Ethan Burke sends it over outside hidden. Now sent over there by the Explorers. That was Stearns. Now it'll be Burke once again. And that gets past the blocking arms of number 23, John Jordan. And Eagles are 1 point away now from taking this set and the match against the Explorers at the JV level.
Right here. Everything they put in is going to be this point right here to get the W.
Alonzo Ezel back to serve here for your St. Edward Eagles. 24-19 Eagles. That floated over by Ezel. Overkill. And now Murtaugh and Vlasic going for it. And now outside Stearns, played by Alex Temple. Free ball over from Temple, kept up by Vlasic. Now played over by Braylon Adams. And the Eagles have done it. They are winners at the JV level. 25-12, 25-19. The Eagles have done it here on the JV stage. And now we get ready to head on to some varsity action between your Eagles of St. Edward and the Explorers of Hudson. And with that, we say so long for this JV action. Cody Wagner, Christian Pagan, so long on the Eagles Sports Network.